Hi, everyone, and welcome to
The 20th. Oh, I stole your thunder.
Good. We should all say it. The 20th
20th
episode of the Londonderry View, which is really exciting for us because when we all came up with this idea, we thought maybe one show, maybe two, but to be able to say we've been together, 4 women discussing things.
Season 7.
Yeah, season, that's right, and 20 episodes in, so that's kind of exciting for us. The interesting thing about the Londonderry View is that we do talk about all types of topics, but when we leave each show, we always wonder together, what are we going to be talking about on that next episode? So we're on 20. What are we going to talk about for 21? Right. And when we ended episode 19, and we had Charlie with us, and we had Officer Olson with us. It was a real happy time, and we had no idea, and we even hate to discuss it, but that there would be the tragedy that now we do have to talk about in Las Vegas, and that's, we just don't know what's going to come next. And our hearts,
hopefully nothing.
Yeah, our hearts go out to everyone in Las Vegas. You're in our prayers, you're in our thoughts. God bless everyone who's involved, and Bonnie, actually it touches even on a more personal level.
I really had a rough morning when I turned on that news because my granddaughter lives there, and she's a partier, and she goes to all that
all the
kind
concerts,
of, all the shows and everything. So right away, I seen it at 5 in the morning. And I called her on the phone, no answer.
Oh my God.
It's scary.
Yeah.
And then at 6 o'clock, my grandson, Matt, called me and he said, Nana, everything's fine. I talked to Brittany at 1 this morning and she's home. She was sleeping when I kept calling
when
her.
You were wide awake.
But she had texted her father the night before, that night, after it happened, and she said to him on the text, I'm all right, I'm home, I'm in my apartment. But he's like, wonder what she's talking about, because he didn't see the news yet.
No.
And he says, she must have meant to text someone else instead of me.
Yeah.
So then when Matthew called him, he realized that's what that text meant.
Oh my God.
So then she called and, she says, no, I don't like country music. I says, oh, good.
It's just scary though, because there's a
scary.
new report that came out today stating that he had done research and was looking to come to Fenway.
I know.
He had done, based on his past, he had done research about hotels around Fenway.
So now,
we don't want it to happen anywhere, but it's scary to think he was looking that close to home.
Yeah.
Well, he had been to some other venues, but never did anything.
Yeah. And the girlfriend claims she, didn't have any
Does-
part, didn't know he bought her a ticket to go visit her family.
And gave her money
$100,000
Yeah.
to buy a house for her family. And he was looking to get out of this.
Yeah.
He was looking, so now they're saying they think he had to have some help. If he
Yeah.
was planning to be able to get away.
Yeah.
But I just hope this doesn't bring out some whack job copycat now.
Yeah.
So I think security's going to be a lot tighter at the venues, no matter where you go.
I'm going to a concert at Hampton Casino Ballroom at the end of this month, and I'm scared to even go there. And it's a small venue inside,
Right.
enclosed.
It is
It's just,
scary.
but that's the thing is we can't let it stop us from living
I
our
know.
life.
Exactly.
And that's the sad, that's the nerve-wracking part, because you need to keep going on with your life, but at the same time you don't know now. And I'm sure outdoor concerts are gonna be.
oh my gosh.
God forbid it was like Jason Aldean who got shot too. It's still terrible who got shot, but it's like outdoor concerts are just a scary experience now.
Yeah, it
don't
is.
know.
It's anywhere you go. It makes me very nervous.
Anywhere you go, you're right,
Kathy's always telling me you can't live your life like that.
Yeah, you can't.
But it's hard. It gets harder and
It
harder.
gets, and now that I have a kid, it's even, you all have children too,
Right.
now I understand how hard it is,
The constant
You know,
worry
the
about them.
constant fear and worrying. And
You know what surprises me? I was reading it on one of the news stations on Facebook. Every one of them are white people that have done these mass murders. Think about it. Every single one of them are white people. Isn't that something? I never even thought of that or gave it a thought.
Yeah.
The school, call them, every
Right.
single
Virginia
one
Tech.
of them. Yeah.
Boy,
Isn't
Bonnie.
that something?
But they were all homegrown terrorists.
Yeah,
basically,
I
right?
guess
They
so.
were. It was a
And
terroristic
it's scary because you
act.
think about traveling abroad, never thinking it could happen here in
Right.
the States, and then it does.
And that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think all 99.9% of it is mental health. I think these people have loose screws in their heads.
And loneliness.
Loneliness,
Loneliness.
their
Something.
upbringing, whatever it was, like it's.
Apparently, I mean, this
This
guy had a
guy's-
girlfriend, right? The family couldn't even imagine it. They,
And the Starbucks or whatever, the coffee shop said that when they always went in, he was always so rude to her, and he was
Oh,
always yelling
really?
at her
I
at the
didn't-
It was in the
I didn't-
report.
oh,
They always used to
okay.
go into this coffee shop, and everyone there used to complain like treats her horribly. Like, why is she with him?
Oh, wow. For the
So
money.
you almost
For the
wonder
money. For the money.
but you almost wonder if he threatened her in some way.
that she was
and-
afraid.
Yeah.
But then I read something where she was afraid when he gave her the money to go and get her parents a house.
Yeah.
That he was breaking up with her.
Yes.
She was
I read
afraid of
that.
that.
I would have
So-
used that as a signal to run.
Oh, boy.
Never
Yeah.
look back.
Now, did any of you hear that, I read somewhere too, that his father was actually a kind of notorious
He broke out of
bank
prison.
robber,
FBI.
he had a lot of mental issues.
The
yeah,
most
so-
wanted list, he broke out
Yes.
of prison.
The
Yeah.
Yeah.
most wanted list, so
So-
you wonder, you know,
Yeah.
you know,
Hereditary
but that's the
screws.
first
Yeah.
time I've seen that connection.
But this guy
in
was
any
an
of these.
educated man.
An
So,
accountant,
Yeah.
wasn't he?
yeah.
He was a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
He was a
yeah.
gambler.
Real estate
But they said
tycoon.
he had to have been planning it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Like he had
Yeah.
gone there, he had been planning, you know.
42 guns.
But like, yeah.
42.
So that's what gets me in the wrong way. Like, she lives in the same household as him.
And he's got a gun room.
He has 42 guns.
Yeah.
He had a gun room that he told another gentleman about. It was her sister's fiance or boyfriend.
Yeah.
They were together at a picnic,
Yeah.
and he told him about the gun room that he had.
It's like
So
people
you
don't
know that's there,
understand.
right? You've got to under.
And people
A
had
red
to have
flag,
seen the way
a
he
red
might have
flag,
acted in
right.
public or with friends and stuff like that. And honestly, not to get on a political topic, but I feel like no matter what we do with the gun laws, the crazy people are still going to get their hands on the
It's
guns.
the wrong people getting the
Except
guns.
those assault rifles. Do
There's no
they
reason to have
really
those.
need
Yeah,
to
no,
have
yeah.
those in existence?
No.
No.
Because that's what caused so many people to get shot.
Right.
Sure.
Those
I
they
believe
do
in a
not
person's right
need.
to carry if you pass
I
the
do
correct
too.
background check.
And you,
I do
and you have
too.
license to carry.
If you have
but-
license to carry and you know how to carry it, but something like that, no.
No, there's no
Yeah,
reason
there's
to
no
have
reason
those
to.
assault rifles.
No. Overseas, yes, but not
Yes.
here.
Well,
That's
it's-
right.
You know, it's a money maker,
It is, yeah.
and we're never going to get away from it.
No.
Like
They've-
cigarettes in a
Yeah.
way. isn't
Yeah.
it?
They've
You
been
know, how do they-
manufactured.
yes.
Yep. For
It's gonna,
very long.
yeah, you're not going to get away with it. But
But I guess, you know, to bring this all to a close too, we can't say enough, and thank yous and love to all of the alert teams out there, the police, the fire people,
first
our
responders.
firemen and women.
even the
um,
even
the
the other
ambulance
people that
crews.
were there at the concert helping people.
everyone, just the
I heard about
strangers on the street.
The guy that
taking-
stole the truck, the Marine that stole somebody's truck because the keys were in it, to transport people back and forth to the hospital.
Yeah.
You know, so
The beauty of
everybody
And
human
then this
nature.
guy was
pitched
also
in.
planning on blowing up. Did you guys hear about that? He had dynamite in one of the dumpster or bomb or something.
Yeah,
one of the-
I saw something about that.
he was
online,
planning
yeah.
on blowing up an area too, but he obviously didn't get that far.
Yeah,
How could you think he'd escape something like that? You're how high up in a hotel that's surrounded by
he
people?
thought he was
Definitely
smarter
not.
than everybody else.
Yeah, clearly
But,
not.
but the fast reaction of the police and the security teams and the hotel workers,
Yeah.
I mean, it was a beautiful team effort that closed it down, you know, when it got
Right
him
away.
It could have
finally.
been worse than it was.
Oh
so.
my gosh, so
Yeah.
scary. And,
But
you know,
I think,
yeah.
why don't we go on to something a little
Yeah,
bit
well,
happier?
well,
Yes,
thinking
happy
of,
topic.
Our armed forces. Some of you might be aware of this
famous picture.
From back in the 1940s, and this is the famous picture of the sailor who, at the end of the war, World War II, was so excited. He'd been to a movie with his friends, came out, they'd been partying and drinking in the streets, and he grabbed this beautiful nurse, Edith, and kissed her. And then the mystery went on through the years, actually until the 90s, because we knew who Edith was because she talked to the person who took the photograph,
Charles doesn't like the photograph.
But Charles doesn't like it. But the mystery was that nobody knew who the sailor was. And he actually thanks, and a shout out to our rep, Al Baldessaro. He was wonderful. Yeah, he contacted us and said that this sailor was going to be coming through New Hampshire. He was actually making a presentation at our Veterans Hospital up in Tilton, and he was stopping by Exit 5 to meet Al and to say hello and to see Londonderry a little bit. So, but wonderful shout out. His name is Carl, and Kirby found out some interesting things on him
because
today.
a couple people had come forward claiming, you know, I'm the guy, because there's no way to really distinguish in a way.
Right, you can't
but
really
they had
tell.
distinguished based on the birthmark on his hand that was him. His mom had confirmed it. I mean, there's like 3 or 4 men over the years that have come forward saying, I'm the man in this picture, like, just for fame. But yeah.
Right,
It's,
right.
yeah, it kind of, and it's kind of funny because where they knew Edith through the years, as Kirby
Yep.
said, different sailors and soldiers would come through and say, it was me in the picture. And Edith would ask them a series of questions.
Yep.
And like, well, what did you say to me? Where did we go afterwards?
Like to kind of test them.
Yeah, to kind of, and all of them didn't pass the test. And then when Carl went to meet her in the 90s and finally came forward, she asked him the same questions, and he said something like, hey lady, I didn't ask you anything. I kissed you and, ran on my way. And she said, it's you, you're my sailor. So, great story and great man. He kept saying to me when I met him, I am not a hero. I served my great country. Many of his friends didn't come home. And everything he does, all these visits, all these signed photographs, he will not take a penny for them, and they're all donations.
Oh, nice.
And out of his own pocket. So that was kind of an honor that he came
That's
to
awesome.
Londonderry.
Very
So,
nice.
but
There's also a
yes.
statue in
Oh,
California.
Kirby, that's
It's
right.
a massive replica of
that?
kiss.
Oh.
Yep, in
And
California.
I didn't know about that. And Kirby
Yeah.
said that your friend had been out there
Yeah,
taking
yeah.
a picture. So I will also put that up so you can all see it. But a nice, happy story.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of a tragic week. So.
Yeah, so-
And we're going to take a break now.
Okay.
And Kath, why don't you tell them about who's coming in?
Well, you secured. We have Cindee Tanuma coming on from Community Caregivers. The group, it's a community-based group here in Londonderry. They help all the seniors and disabled, and I don't want to steal what she's going to say, but we'll take a break.
Perfect.
And then we'll bring Cindee on, and we can pick her brain. How's that?
Absolutely. Well done. Well done.
Okay.
All right. See you soon.
Welcome back, everyone. I'd like to introduce Cindee Tanuma from Community Caregivers here in Londonderry. And Cindee, why don't you tell us, give us a little overall view of what Community Caregivers does and.
Sure. Yeah, I'd be glad to, and thank you so much for
Good
having
to have
me.
you with us.
Thank
You do
you.
a lot of great things for the community.
Let's see. Okay, so we've been around since 1988.
Oh my goodness.
And it was started by a group of concerned citizens that saw that there was a population of people that was really being left out, meaning the elderly and disabled. They were finding that maybe they weren't poor enough to receive state assistance, but they weren't really rich enough to pay for it out of pocket. So they're really kind of in that middle area that was either being
Kind of
underserved
falling through the
or not
cracks.
served at all.
Yeah.
And they were also finding that even if someone happened to be eligible for a service or could happen to afford it, sometimes those services just simply weren't a good match. For example, say you live in one of our more rural of our 7 towns and you can afford a taxi service. Well, even if you can afford it, if a taxi won't come to where you live, it doesn't really matter if you can afford it or not.
Right.
Another classic problem is, a lot of our seniors are on a Title 20 certificate through the state of New Hampshire that says, I'm old enough and poor enough to receive state subsidized homemaking. Well, just because you've got a golden ticket doesn't mean that you're getting those services. Or that those services that are deemed appropriate to meet all your homemaking needs are ever going to be enough. So they figured that back then, the same that we do today, is there's always going to be a need for a supplemental service like ourselves to hopefully fill in that gap between services that are already in place and ones that aren't. So, in the simplest terms, what we do is we train volunteers that want to help someone but don't know who to help. And we
You organize.
and we take, we take referrals, either self-referrals or referrals from other sources of people that need just a little bit more help to stay independent. So it's not comprehensive. I don't pretend that it is. But what we do is we basically, rather than a neighbor or community member helping someone on their own, there's a lot more at risk getting used and abused, giving too much of yourself, just not appropriately servicing them. And so people just sometimes feel more comfortable to do it through an agency. Gives them guidance, gives them insurance, gives them some boundaries,
Support.
Exactly,
Yeah.
support and assistance, exactly. And then they get to feel part of that community as well. So we cover the towns of Derry, Londonderry, Hampstead, Windham, Sandown, Chester, and Danville. Londonderry is our second most, not popular, that's not the word.
Most used,
used, the volume is
We have a very
certainly the second largest.
large population with all the 55 and above
Yeah.
senior
A lot
living
of-
facilities,
yeah.
and so.
But the good thing about Londonderry is that where we have a great need, it's also met, if not exceeded, by the volunteer base. So I would say it might be on the line that we might have just as many volunteers from Londonderry as from Derry.
Oh, wow.
There's so many
Yeah.
dedicated citizens that want to give back. Now, for the most part, they're giving back in Londonderry, but we're also pulling them down when need be to Derry or to Windham or wherever, wherever they might go.
Right.
So the services that we provide, light chores. We're not a cleaning service. I don't pretend that we are. But it's kind of like friendly visiting with a side of light chores is what I usually say.
Nice, yeah.
So it's the companionship.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we, obviously there needs to be that respect level. So things that I watch out for is someone that, it should never look dirtier than the last time you were there.
Right.
There shouldn't be discarded wrappers on the ground waiting for the volunteer to pick them up. If you can't do your own dishes because you can't stand that long, at least have them soaking in soapy water so it doesn't take the person
put in your half. Don't expect them to do everything.
Right,
all
they're
of
not
it,
coming
yeah.
to be your slave.
Yes,
And-
yeah.
yeah.
They're there to assist you in getting it
So we
done.
do that. We do either groceries for or with a person. So this could be something that, a lot of people could give back because if they're doing their own grocery
They can
shopping,
help out those
they
who
can
can't.
always do
Yes.
someone else's as well.
Yeah.
Or bring that person along with them because not everybody needs physical assistance in the
Yeah.
store. So that can be an easy way for someone to give
Yeah.
back. We also do just plain friendly visiting, so companionship.
Just
We
go
do-
sit, have coffee with them, just
That's one.
Yep.
socialize.
Yep. We do light respite care. I use the word light, or what I usually describe it as peace of mind respite. So peace of mind respite would be like, they probably could be left alone, but for the peace of mind of everybody involved, primary caregiver, it would give them peace of mind if the person was not left alone. But there's so many limitations to what a volunteer can and can't do in terms of respite care that we don't do that much of it.
Right.
But there are a lot of circumstances where we can excel. We also have a very active, and I don't think people know, a very active program through People's United Bank called Project Upkeep. So it's self-described as like a honey-do program. So we train.
Handyman.
Yep. So we train men that are, jack of all trades, honey-do men,
Yeah.
and we don't do anything that requires like licensing, code, inspections. But if it's just, the normal, honey-do projects, we do a lot of those. We do seasonal yard work projects. And then I think we're most well known for our transportation program, but it's actually only about 30 to 35% of what we do.
Really?
So the rest of it is those in-home matches, that consistent, frequent presence. But we do about I don't know, about 160,000 miles, you know, a year. It ends up being, you know, we do about 7,000
And you
drives a
take
year. Yeah.
people who can't drive, because I know we have CART and all those other, but you take people who can't drive to like doctors and
Yeah,
or
so
to
I'd say
volunteers.
we're not really, we're a complement to CART because we don't really share that many constituents.
Yeah.
Because we kind of do what we call a door through the door.
Okay.
So, you know, we're going to do the arm assist. We're going to wait
Yeah.
in the waiting room.
Oh,
If you're
very
deaf, we're
nice.
going to hear your name being called. If you're
So
blind,
you
we're
go
going to help
the
you
whole
sign your
9
name.
yards.
Yes, they
Yeah.
stay, because I use
That
them
is
in
nice.
the winter
Wow, that's
because I
nice.
don't drive in the winter.
Right,
Once the snow comes and
You know,
I
have
can attest
doctor's
to that.
Yes, you can. And
Yeah.
if I have doctor's appointments, like at the river's edge, I mean, I'm afraid if I get there and it snows, how am I going to get back? Because
Yeah.
believe me, I wouldn't drive. So
Yeah.
I had called Cindee about that, and just, you know, the winter months,
Just that little piece
and
of mind.
the volunteers
See,
have
that's
to be the
nice.
And
best
stay with you.
volunteers.
It's nice
They
than just
sit
dropping
with
you off. Yeah,
I
that's
was
so
like,
much
oh my
nicer.
God,
Because
like,
that's
this
the
is so
companionship
different.
too.
Because sometimes, you know, my kids can't make it up here or something.
sure.
And it's so much, you know, it just gives you that
Yeah.
Peace of
feel
mind,
and
the
peace of
security.
mind.
Yeah.
And, you know, you don't have to keep, because I remember one year that we had the snow up here. I must have canceled every doctor's appointment I had.
Yeah. Or we say save the family for the, you know, use us for the maintenance appointments. You know, what I
And
would
then
call
save the
maintenance
family for
appointments.
emergencies.
Save them for the appointments that you feel like you need a second ear. You need someone else to absorb the information. You're at a crossroads and you really need someone else to help you
For
kind
moral
of
support.
Exactly. But use us for the, you know, the toenail clippings and the, you know, the hearing checks and the, you know, the pain management appointment.
Yes.
I mean, you can use us for anything. 'Cause
Yeah.
sometimes people don't have family,
Yeah.
but that's why some people will use us for just the ones that they know that they don't want to have someone come out, you know, take the day off of work
Right.
because
Well,
there's
this
really
is the
nothing.
thing.
It's just a, you know,
Yeah.
it's a simple appointment.
It's nice to
Yeah.
know that that's there though, and it's
It
better
is.
than
Yeah.
CART kind of just like, no offense to CART, because they're great too, but just dropping you off. It's nice to have that person
Well, this
there.
right. It's
And they
it's more
wait.
specific.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's
now,
really
can people
good.
schedule a week out, or how does that part work, Cindee?
Our rule of thumb is what we normally tell our clients is to call us when they get an appointment. So when they get home from their appointment and they have that appointment card, every one of our clients has a highlighter because a lot of them have poor memories. So the highlighter, so what we have them do is we have them write it on their calendar, give us a call, and if it's highlighted or squared or whatever, it helps them remember that they called us with it. So I'd rather someone call us with appointments that's 6 months out,
Right.
3 months out, a
That
month
way you
out.
guys can plan. You
That
can make
way
sure you
it's
have
in
somebody.
there.
Yeah.
So I don't try to confuse them by saying like, well, we do require a week's notice for the most part.
Okay.
But I always tell people to just give it to us when
Immediately, as soon as you get
when
it.
they get it.
Right.
That way they
They
know.
won't forget.
But I
Right.
have them highlighted because 5.5 months from them, they're gonna turn their calendar over to the next month.
Oh,
and they're
no.
gonna say, "Ooh, did I remember to call caregivers
yeah.
at these appointments?"
idea.
And if they
Highlighted
if they
it
highlight
or-
it, then they know that
That
they.
you've-
So, but we only work on the drives the Thursday before. So,
okay,
so they
all
can
right.
give it to us as much ahead of time as they want, but we really will
It's
only
more
find
for
the
their
drivers.
personal benefit.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
until a week before.
You know, so we
okay.
usually call. So we'll call. We do about, I don't know, I'd say about 60 to 80 drives a week, and we'll call all the people by Friday afternoon to give them reassurance of their driver's name, what type of car they drive, what time they're going to be there, and then that volunteer calls before they go. Hi, my name is so and so. I
gosh,
drive this
that's
kind of car. Are you
wonderful.
poking out, or am I knocking on the door? So they're, you know, getting a little more
Use
description
comfortable to, and that makes them
Yeah.
comfortable
And they're
too,
so
rather than just
friendly.
opening the
I
door.
mean, they
yeah.
are. I was amazed. I did it once, and then I said, "Ooh, this is really good," because it.
Wow.
You know, at first I felt funny because I drive.
Right, yeah.
But then I said, well, I don't drive in the winter. So, I
That's a
mean, you
perfect-
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Boy.
But it worked out. It worked out, especially going over to the river's edge because
Right,
that's.
that's
And
you
it's a
know,
big building, so even walking, if you had,
Yeah,
you know,
that's right,
walking
yes.
problems, you know, it's it can be a really far walk from the parking lot. So even just
Right.
having, or even navigating.
Yeah.
But what would be good reassurance to anyone watching that's considering volunteering is knowing that we meet every single one of these clients in their homes. So whether we help someone once with something or 1,000 times, it's still the home intake process, and so the volunteer should know and realize that all these just as if a volunteer's been vetted, the clients have been vetted too. So for the most, to the best of my ability, I'm trying to put the volunteers in the safest and most hazard-free environment
Right.
possible. And it is amazing how understanding volunteers can be with certain quirks, mannerisms,
TLC.
negative behaviors.
Yeah.
I'll just say, if you're aware, if you're prepared, and you know what's normal, it's amazing what just the layman
Yeah.
person can handle. And we do, the most important thing that, we have about 475 volunteers, and the most important thing that they do
Phenomenal.
every day is recognize and refer concerns that need professional attention. So we really do look to them to say,
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
something to say, this seems off, or this isn't normal, or you sent me on a drive last week, but you didn't let me know that they were using a rollator. Well, we probably didn't know. They usually don't self-disclose those things. Or
Yeah.
did you know my match's son died from a heart attack last week at the age of 50? She's not coping very well, so maybe I can make a referral to REAP or just reach out to them for a coffee date. They might say, I know I'm not allowed to, say something, but lately I've been seeing overdue bills on the coffee table. Or lately there's been the smell of rotting food.
So they
or
watch out for their well-being.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
more
So
than-
there's those things
yeah.
because they're that consistent presence. They know when something's a little off,
So
and
does
that's
a-
when they key us in.
Yeah, so does a volunteer go, are they like assigned to one person
Yep.
and everything that one person
Yep.
needs?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
No. So just one thing. So 75% of our volunteers are in just one match,
Okay.
and they only do one task. So if I meet a client and I find that they've got multiple needs, we never have one volunteer do multiple
everything.
tasks. We assign them three volunteers that each go a certain.
One does
Yeah,
grocery
and we
shopping,
try to
one
have
does
them do
dishes,
it
okay.
different parts of the week. So they
It also
have a
gives them the
Monday grocery
companionship,
shopper,
too, yeah.
a Wednesday light chores,
Yeah,
and a
yeah.
Friday friendly visiting.
See, that's
And
nice.
each one of them takes out the trash, brings in the mail, so they have that kind of consistent, that consistent presence. And a lot of times they don't even meet each other, which is why we have get to know you events, things like that.
The volunteers.
So the volunteers
Get to
can
know each other, yeah.
can finally meet.
That's awesome.
But they all wrap around that person.
Yeah,
So
that's
we do
awesome.
that for two reasons. One, because I don't want to burn you out.
Yep.
And two, because when you leave me, because you're on maternity leave or whatever, if you're doing three things for your match,
Yeah.
I immediately will need to come up with three
volunteers,
volunteers to
yeah.
fill what you.
Whereas
want.
now you'd only need to fill one spot
Exactly.
Yeah.
with one volunteer.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
bad. That's
So
good.
that's normally the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Now,
work
Cindee, could
Yep.
someone though, they have a doctor's appointment every week, or
Yeah.
they need that service every week to plan at 10 o'clock going to
Sure.
the River's Edge every
Or
week?
CLM or
And
somewhere, yeah.
they could do that, like you could schedule that volunteer for a 6-month period or a 3-month period?
So the only repeat volunteers for transportation are dialysis.
Oh, right,
That's, I
okay.
mean, you have people that can stand certain people, or your list of people that can tolerate certain people is pretty small, so that we end up maybe using 1 or 2 or 3 volunteers because those are the only people that understand or appreciate them. But for
Right.
the most part, we, as a rule or as a business model, we try to give them as many volunteers as possible,
nice.
because it's more enjoyable for the volunteer, and it's also more enjoyable for the client to get to know a different
Different
Someone else.
person.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you could do the appointment, though. The appointment
Oh,
could
yeah,
be
sure.
repetitious, and that it's
It
not
would
like you
just
can
be a
only.
different volunteer every
That's
time.
wonderful, because I was a little concerned that maybe you could have like 5 rides, or but that's excellent that you could.
Sure.
And
Yep.
how many again did you say rides per year?
We do
are-
about between 6,000 and 7,000 rides a year. Yeah.
That's incredible. I had no
That is-
idea.
that
Yeah,
is
but that's the thing is
incredible.
we had no idea.
Right, but is the
Yeah.
focus of community caregivers supposed to be more home-based versus taxi service? Are
I know,
you
Kathy, we're
more-
both, our
So
minds
we're
are
not a,
going, wow.
So we're not a financially based service, we're a needs based service. So the easiest way for me to explain it is just to say that I have to make sure that every one of our clients, that their needs aren't being adequately met somehow. So if I know there's another way that their services could be adequately met,
You'll refer
then
them?
I'll refer them. Another rule of thumb is that because the volunteers question my judgment or rely on my my vetting, my like golden rule is would a volunteer question my judgment? Would a volunteer wonder why they're helping someone instead of someone else? So if they're there cleaning someone's home, but their 40-year-old nephew is always there when they go,
Okay.
they're going to wonder why they're doing it when someone
Someone else
else
can be
is
doing it.
available.
Yeah.
Doing it.
Say every time they go to pick someone up for a drive, there's a car parked in the driveway and a husband in his study,
That could
doing
drive.
models.
Yeah.
Then that's so
Right,
really
they
it's
could-
more just about
A true need.
a true need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say. Some people can't afford a service, or they can't step up on in somewhere, or they just need someone that's going to stay with them. So it's kind of case by case.
Yeah.
It really is.
And what is your hours? What are the hours for for a volunteer? I mean, do you like open at 8
Could
in the
someone have a
morning?
ride at 6 for
And-
dialysis
Yeah,
if they
or-
needed it?
Yep. I mean, we've done sleep
Wow.
studies at 7:00 at night. We've done 5:00, 6:00 doctor's appointments.
my
We
goodness.
do
Okay,
6
so you
6 a.m.
you do schedule things later into the evening.
I mean, we'll certainly ask them if that's the time that it has to be.
Wow, but you
Like if
can
there's
do
Or
it.
if it's an appointment in Boston, we're definitely going to probe. Did you know that there is an office located closer?
Right.
If there's a legitimate reason they need to go to Boston, we'll do it.
Right.
But we are going to maybe probe or
Try to
ask
get-
those
yeah.
questions. We definitely
Oh,
will.
it's
Yeah,
amazing.
we will definitely will.
It is
so no, we don't
amazing,
have
Bonnie.
yeah, we
don't have a set
like,
time
We don't have
frame.
a set time frame, but we don't normally do appointments days we're closed. So legal holidays, weekends, we wouldn't normally. And the reason isn't why you think. It's really just because if a volunteer was a no-show, the client can't call us to say my driver
right.
didn't show up,
Yeah.
and then we're not really there to
help
say
them, right.
to say, oh gosh, well I'll call somebody else, or I'll call all their numbers, or
yeah.
I'll find out what happened, or
Right.
one of us will just head out and get
Yeah.
them. So that's really the reason, more than
Yeah.
anything. It's not. It doesn't have to do with anything.
But
But you-
probably a lot of times.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I would think like the doctor's office might not even be open on a holiday, like a legal holiday.
Right.
Oh, you'd be amazed.
Really?
Oh, you would be amazed because we have to, like on Monday, we've had to say no to, I don't know, a dozen people that needed doctor's appointments or that's the day that they could get.
Oh, for Columbus Day.
But we don't do, but we don't do those. So dialysis will still, if the normal driver wants to take someone on a legal holiday, we don't interfere. But if the normal driver can't do it, we don't find a replacement.
Okay.
So we're not going
It's
to
up to
stand
the
in someone's way,
volunteers,
but we leave.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
nice.
amazing.
It's
I mean, you
interesting.
really,
So-
you do
So
a
you
wonderful
cover a lot of
job.
bases.
Wow.
You really do.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
and it should be. I
It's
should
pretty-
post about it a little bit more so that people know it's
Yes.
another option here in
Right.
Londonderry. Like if you need help, if you can't, if you're in a wheelchair and you can't do your dishes, and
And it doesn't have to be, ongoing support. It
Yeah,
could be
just
for
a couple times.
an eye surgery, and
Yeah.
no one can get off to take you there or back.
just
Normally
like a
you drive,
one-time
or
thing.
or a colonoscopy, or just some surgery
Having
where you're
someone
not
do you
allowed
guys
to drive
mainly
home.
focus on the elderly, or do you really take any age?
Good question, Ruby.
It's needs based, so I mean,
like if somebody's
so
like-
the way we pigeonhole it normally is we do chronically or temporarily ill,
Yep.
disabled,
Yep.
or elderly.
Okay.
That's like,
Those are pretty much the needs.
that's
So, yeah.
pretty much
But
everything.
so that,
Yeah.
but that could
Yeah,
be like, you
covering
could be like
everything, yeah.
a
Broken
35
leg.
and be like chronically
Yeah.
ill and not
be
have
a
anyone
broken
else.
leg, it could
So,
be
okay.
cancer, it could be, you know,
Right.
Yeah.
it could pretty
Okay.
much be anything.
Okay. So it doesn't really, age doesn't really, it's based on what they have going
Yeah.
on. Okay.
And volunteers' perception.
that
I
makes
mean,
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you also have the
yeah.
loaner's closet there,
Yep.
correct?
Yes, thank you. Yep. So we have about 9,000 pieces of medical equipment that are free to the public. So we take donations and we loan them out. Not only do we loan out, you know, all the common items, but we can also get someone access to things that we can't actually store on site. So hospital beds, stand stair lifts, reclining lift chairs, hover rounds, electric wheelchairs,
Wow.
Hoyer lifts. So any of that kind of oversized
goodness.
stuff,
Right.
we know who has it, we know who needs it, and we just basically
amazing.
act
That's
as a
incredible.
conduit.
Right.
So we do about 3,000 loans a year. We give out about
So what's the loan period? Like how long do
Any-
you?
as long as
as long as
things
you
that
need
need
it.
it.
Yeah, I've
yeah,
done a
as long as
couple-
you.
yeah,
And we also give out
amazing.
Ensure, poise pads, diapers, pull-ups. So any of those things that are consumable items that you just need a constant supply of, and you just may not have to have room in your budget,
Budget to like buy that
to
stuff.
keep it up. Yeah.
Boy.
So.
And this is a nonprofit agency. And how do you actually get your funding? And how can people help community caregivers too? If you can make a donation, or you know, if you're part of a group that could make a large donation, this is a great place to put it.
Yep.
Because
So I mean, any good agency is going to have a pretty. The more pieces in your portfolio, the better. Because if anything ever fell out from underneath you, you want to still be able to survive. So we have about a quarter split. So about a quarter of it is the fundraising events that we do. That I could mention a couple. About a quarter of it is the $10, the $100, those private
that-
check donations
just come in.
that just come in through annual appeals or newsletters or Loaner's Closet patrons. About a quarter of it is grant funding, and then a quarter of it is the towns that we serve.
Yeah.
So kind of giving
I was
what
gonna
they're
say, I
what
think I've
they're.
seen you in our budget process,
Yes,
the community
absolutely.
caregivers name before.
Yeah.
Do you get some? You get
We
funding
get some
through
funding.
London?
Yep.
That's wonderful.
So yeah, so we've got a Max Bake Sale on October 22nd. We have the Hampstead Townwide Yard Sale. That's this Saturday.
Wow.
We have a Charlie Zom concert where he's a famous Celtic musician.
Oh, that's cool.
Next month, November 17th. And then we have like our kind of flagship event, the Potter's Bowl. That's January 27th at Pinkerton. We do other events, but those are kind of our
big
our
fundraising, yeah.
4 big ones. And then we can do a gambling fundraiser at a casino in Manchester, usually every July. That's a kind of
Oh, I'd like to hear about that one.
Yeah, I was like, Bonnie, that's up your alley.
yeah.
You gotta
So that's a
remember
good
to let me know if that one's coming.
So
I know.
I mean, everything's normally on our website, our Facebook page. So I mean, the best thing is to check Facebook, check our website,
And the website's
or
just community caregivers.
comcaregivers.org.
Comcaregivers.org.
on a separate note too, you are an incredible voice for community, and you have been at it how many years?
13.
13, because I met you years ago,
Yep.
and you are just the perfect person to go to
Definitely.
our
you.
council meetings, our rotaries, come here. I mean,
speak on behalf
I
of
don't
the
know how
speak on
you
behalf.
do everything that you
That's
do and
awesome.
do it at 120%.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
being very humble about your kind of talking about the group and everything that they do, but the leadership comes from the top, and I just know the people that
yeah,
answer the
thank you.
phones, they adore you, they appreciate you, and they represent what you're doing. So Cindee,
I love my job.
yeah,
I mean,
and it shows.
You can
it
tell.
really
I like.
does.
I don't. I mean, I know I probably have the leadership skills to run any nonprofit at any type of constituency, but I don't think I could. There are certain constituents or certain jobs that I just don't think I could do. Like, I really feel like volunteer
Passionately, yeah.
caregiving. I like helping a constituency that I'm trying to keep them from things getting worse or things
You're making a
becoming
difference.
Yeah.
unsafe or becoming scary. So it's great that you can engage volunteers to help in a capacity with a population that doesn't really speak up well for themselves.
right.
They're
Yeah.
not really represented, but also but the challenge is that it's not really a very it's not as fundable. They say, oh, well, why do you need money? They're volunteers. But I love the constituency. I love that your help, volunteerism is the wave of the future. And if I can just do my part to inspire and coordinate others to give.
To come on board
Yeah,
and
and
sign
it's-
up for rides.
You have
and-
to realize this is a population. I mean, you probably see this every
Every
day.
day.
That they just want to know that
Somebody's
Somebody
Thinking of them.
cares.
like that if they died tomorrow that someone would care.
Yeah.
And that their life is being witnessed and that they matter.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important.
Very important.
You know?
Yes.
So
So if somebody was to
Yeah.
volunteer, do you do like background checks and?
So we do BAS state registry checks
Yeah,
and we do
okay.
2 reference checks. We can't afford background checks and honestly,
But it
those are
gives
just
you-
the
but-
people that got in trouble.
Yeah.
So it's really not a fail safe.
Yeah. But
But we do have layers. We definitely have
'cause I was
layers.
gonna say,
Yep.
yeah, like I wasn't
Sometimes
sure
you
in
get a
terms of
nitpicky
volunteers.
family you get some kids that want you to help their parents and they question why you do background checks and I say, well, you could be helping your parents or you could pay
Yeah.
$26 an
I
hour
would check.
to an agency that's going to do the exact same thing
Same
that we're
thing.
doing for free.
Yeah.
Right.
And if, your mom pays someone $26 an hour, but the caregiver only gets $9, how good is the service going to be? I can pretty much guarantee that our volunteers that are being paid nothing are probably going to be better.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's a good
that's
line.
it.
I like
It
that.
really is.
A
So
lot more
disclosure, I
caring.
think, is
Fresh and
important.
honest.
You're being
Yes.
Right,
Like
because it's
being
not just
honest.
a
you're letting
paycheck.
them know it is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
They're
Yeah.
doing it because they want to do it.
They want to help
It's
out,
not
so
for
you're
a
going to know
paycheck.
that the service is going to be good because they're doing it on their own time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank
they
you for
want
this
to do it.
platform.
Yeah,
I really
no.
thank you.
Thank
You guys
you
are
for
great.
coming.
And would you just say the website again, just so people know, and a phone number?
www.comcaregivers.org, and it's 603-432-0877, or you can
awesome.
check us out on Facebook too.
That's
thank
awesome.
Thank you.
No,
Thank
thanks
you,
for
everyone.
coming.
Thank you
so
very
much
much,
for
girls.
coming.
Yes, and if
That's
you
awesome.
can donate or volunteer, what
Yep.
better place?
And check out your events. They sound
Yes,
really
they
fun.
do.
I'm going to
They
be at
do.
the bake sale eating
And,
everything.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But well, everyone
Yes,
will
this one's going to the casino,
You know,
so
yeah.
you're going to need to get her the info on the casino.
And a ride
night.
there. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and a ride there.
July. Well, everyone, I
Great.
think it's a wrap tonight,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
thank
Thank you.
Cindy. We
Thank you.
learned so much, and thank
We
you for
did.
all you
Yeah.
do for our community
you.
in New Hampshire.
Thank
And
you.
good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.